Far beyond any marked trail, where even experienced hikers refuse to go, there is a mountain that doesn't appear on most maps. Not because it's hidden, because it's avoided. In the northern wilderness of Norway, locals speak of a peak that changes depending on who looks at it. Some say it is closer than it should be. Others say it disappears entirely. But everyone agrees on one thing. If you reach the top, you won't come back the same. Daniel had heard the story and laughed, until he saw the mountain himself. It didn't look extraordinary from a distance. Just another peak rising above endless forest and rock. But as he got closer, something felt wrong. The air became thinner, too quickly. The silence became deeper, too suddenly. And the path behind him felt farther away than it should have been. Still, he continued, step by step, higher, further, until he reached a plateau. Flat, perfectly flat, in the middle of a mountain that should have been jagged and uneven. That's not natural, he whispered. In the center of the plateau stood a structure. Small, dark, not quite a building, not quite a cave, something in between. The entrance was narrow, barely visible against the rock. But it was there, waiting. Daniel hesitated. Every instinct told him to turn back. But something else pulled him forward. Stronger, quieter. He stepped inside. The temperature dropped instantly. The light behind him faded faster than it should. Within seconds, the outside world disappeared. Only darkness remained. Then, a faint glow appeared deeper inside. Soft, pulsing, like a heartbeat. Daniel followed it. The tunnel widened slowly, revealing smooth walls carved with patterns that didn't look human. Not random, not decorative, intentional, and old. Very old. He reached a chamber. Circular, perfect. And in the center, a stone. Floating, not touching the ground, not supported by anything. Just there, emitting light. Breathing. Daniel stepped closer. What is this? The moment he spoke, the light intensified. The symbols on the walls lit up all at once. And then, a voice. Not heard. Felt. Inside his mind. You came back. Daniel froze. I've never been here. Silence. Then, you always say that. The chamber grew colder as the light from the floating stone pulsed stronger. Daniel stepped back slowly, his heart racing. This isn't real. But the voice returned instantly. It is now. The words echoed inside his mind, clear and calm, as if they had always been there. Daniel looked around. The symbols on the walls began to move. Not physically, but shifting, like they were rearranging themselves into meaning. What is this place? He asked. A pause. Then a memory. Daniel frowned. That doesn't make sense. The light pulsed again. Images flooded his mind. Not dreams. Not imagination. Something deeper. He saw the mountain, not as it was now, but older, covered in structures that no longer existed. Then people, standing where he stood, different faces, different times, all looking at the same stone, all hearing the same voice. Daniel fell to one knee. Stop. The images didn't stop. They changed. Now he saw himself, standing there, again, and again, and again, different versions, different outcomes, some leaving, some not. No. The voice spoke again. You return. I don't. Daniel shouted. The chamber responded. The ground vibrated slightly. The light grew unstable. You forget. The words hit harder than anything else. Forget. Daniel's mind raced. Fragments. Moments he couldn't place. Dreams that felt too real. Places that felt familiar, but shouldn't. The voice continued. Each time you leave, you take less. A long pause. Each time you return, you bring more. Daniel shook his head. I don't understand. The stone pulsed faster. The chamber began to shift slightly. Walls moving, closing, watching. You are incomplete. Silence. Then, we are correcting that. The chamber darkened suddenly, leaving only the floating stone visible. Daniel tried to move, but his body felt heavier. Slower. Like the air itself was resisting him. What are you doing to me? He shouted. The voice responded calmly. Restoring. The word echoed unnaturally. The symbols on the walls began glowing brighter, forming patterns that connected directly to the stone. Energy moved through the room like veins of light. Daniel's thoughts became louder, clearer, exposed. He could feel something inside his mind being opened. No stop. But the process didn't stop. Memories began surfacing. Not just his. Others. Dozens. Hundreds. People who had stood there before him. All connected. All part of the same place. This is wrong. The voice spoke again. There is no wrong. The light surged. The chamber expanded suddenly, revealing something impossible. Beyond the walls, there was no mountain. Only darkness. Endless. The mountain was not a place. It was a structure. A shell. Daniel's breathing became unstable. You're not from here, he whispered. The voice paused. Then, neither are you. Silence. Heavy. Final. The light reached its peak. Blinding. Daniel closed his eyes. Everything stopped. When he opened them again, he was outside. On the mountain. Alone. The plateau was gone. No structure. No entrance. Just rock. Wind. Silence. He stumbled back, breathing hard. I made it. Days passed. Then weeks. Everything seemed normal. Until one night, he looked at the sky and felt something strange. Not fear. Not confusion. Recognition. As if something above was looking back. Watching. Waiting. And deep inside the mountain, beneath layers of rock and time, the stone pulsed once. As if completing something. As if remembering him.